So many of us listening to this, the world would call us believers, meaning that we believe that Jesus Christ is who he said he was. Somewhere along the way in life, the Jesus story left the realms of Christmas and Easter and became something a whole lot more. Jesus became no longer a historical figure or a great story that we tell boys and girls to keep them good, but Jesus, the reality of him, became real to us. And no longer was it just at the word level, it became at the heart level. So all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, the light bulb just popped, it went off. And by God's grace, and in many cases, in an instant, we believed. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because they have not believed in the name of God's one and only Son." From the moment we truly believed, we were saved. Our salvation became secure, and our place in his perfect kingdom became reserved. Why we chose to believe in others when presented with almost identical information did not, it's a mystery, and only God has the answer to that. But somehow, some way, we were told the truth. Someone told us the truth. Someone shared the story of Jesus, and whether that was a minister or a parent or a close friend or even a perfect stranger, we were told about Jesus. We're told about his birth, his life, his death, his resurrection. We're told that he came here for us. He came here because he loves us, and he came here to save us. Some of us had a ton of questions. Some of us believed from the first moment we heard, and some of us listening to this might still not totally and completely believe. You see, we can share the evidences of God. We can tell the story about the 500 eyewitnesses to Jesus' teaching after he had resurrected. We can ask ourselves, why didn't such a perfectly believable and plausible story that the temple told that the apostles stole his body and hid it to prove that he resurrected, how did that story not work? It's totally believable. Well, because the evidence of his resurrection was overwhelming. The eyewitness accounts were too plentiful. The facts around the story of Christ and his life and his resurrection are virtually unassailable, but none of it matters at all if the story never reaches our ears. The reason we can have these discussions and debate whether or not Christ was who he said he was is because somewhere along the way, we have been told the story of him. Someone took the time to either tell us face to face, or to make a movie that we watched, or prepare a sermon that we listened to, but someone somewhere took some time to tell us. Mark 16:15 and 16 says, "He said to them, 'Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned.'" So putting everything else aside, what is our primary job as believers? We have to share the good news. It doesn't mean we have to preach on street corners. I mean, maybe we should just start by telling people closest to us and letting them know that we believe, particularly if they don't believe. Matthew 10:32 and 33 says, "Whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven." It is not enough to believe and keep it to ourselves. The thing about Jesus is, he is the antidote to eternal death. He is the cure for the poison of sin. And to keep this cure to ourselves while we watch others die is not possible, particularly if we love them. John 14:6 says, Jesus answered, "I'm the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Go with me in a quick journey. Think about whoever in this world you love the most. Your kids or your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend or a parent. Just think about that person that you just love the most. And let's say you're at a big party, lots of people, crowded room, lots of noise, but you have a very clear view of this person across the room from you, maybe talking to some other friends, and you see somebody approach them from behind, a person that doesn't belong at this party, a stranger, someone that you don't recognize. And let's say that stranger, you see in their hand is this little vial of what appears to be a clear liquid, and they slip it into your loved one's drink. Unbeknownst to them, they don't see it. And that same stranger just disappears right into the crowd. As quickly as they're there, as quickly as they pour the liquid into your loved one's drink, they disappear. What would you do? The room's loud, you yell, but they can't hear, and you see them going for their drink. They're about to take a sip. What do? I'd say you run. I'd say you run straight across that room as fast as you can. I would say that as you're running, you're yelling at them, trying to get their attention so they don't take a sip of that drink. And I'd say as you approach, you smack that drink out of their hand. Imagine their look of shock. Imagine the person next to them that gets the drink splashed all over them or the breaking glass on the ground. Imagine how they look at you like you're crazy. What are you doing? You see, you were the only one that witnessed the attack. You were the only one in that room that could do something about it, and you had no choice. No matter how foolish you looked, how upset the person was at getting their drink poured all over them, it didn't matter because you sensed something dangerous and you acted. This whole world, everyone we know and love, and us are going to face our Creator. We will face judgment. The drink has been poured, and there is only one way that we don't end up drinking the full measure of God's wrath, and that is by having the Son stand in for us on that fateful judgment day. Romans 10:9-10 says, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. Let's go out together. Start knocking some drinks out of people's hands because he loves them and he loves us. And it is our job to open our mouths, share the good news, and speak. Until next time.